from the Iceberg with a GrandPolar, coming to you over the Ethernet and into your ears.
About Phantom Divine, how it started, and just about the band.
Well, I started working on just a songwriting project like mid to late 2019, and it just kind of grew. I didn't know if I was going to create a band or not, and I worked with a songwriter and singer out of Finland, calls herself Ilvan. We wrote the first single together, River of Dreams, late 2019. And originally the plan was to have her sing on the recording, but I ended up deciding to create the band Phantom Divine a little later on. And then I had Shane Richardson, who I'm been good friends with for the last 5 or so years, and I play bass for him in his band, Blade Wolf. I asked him to join me on bass, and shortly after, we enlisted our previous singer, Naomi Weston, and we started writing music together, and the Cosmic Vision started to formulate from there. And yeah, it was a lot of fun getting to know those two, and it was my first real project, like serious project of my own. It's been a blast. We played a couple shows, 3 shows now actually. Yeah.
And when did McKenna come on board?
McKenna came on board last November. There was some stuff going on behind the scenes, and we just kind of decided to part ways with Naomi. So, and McKenna I've known from Soulborn previously. Her and our drummer Daniel are in that band together, and they're also in Revelry together. If you haven't checked them out, really cool stuff.
McKenna, how did you start in the music business? What led you on your path to music?
Well, I started quite young as a classically trained vocalist, doing the Royal Conservatory, which is basically a gauntlet of classical music challenges for vocalists. I took a break on that, and I did some audio engineering as my education. So I am an audio engineer just to learn the other side of things. And then I came back to Alberta because I was living elsewhere. And I got a message from one of the former members of Soulborn. His name's Cody. And he had said that they were looking to part ways with their singer due to just wanting to go to a different direction. And if I might be interested in auditioning. And I thought that was super cool because I hadn't really done any major band stuff or live stuff or really any recording to think of. So I sent in an audition and kind of went from there and ended up getting along with the guys of Soulborn. And then it just started to progress. My relationships with the members turned into quite strong friendships. So then Revelry formed, which would have been a just different musical attempt. And then I got a message from Daniel, the drummer of pretty much everything. And he said that that Phantom Divine's looking to continue on with a new singer, and if there might be interest there, I would be welcome. I thought, oh yeah, sure, why not? That sounds great, because I was feeling like there was a bit of a lack of creativity in music happening in that time. I was in a bit of a lull. So we kind of picked up where things left off and started songwriting. Wraith of the Lake was a song I wrote when I was sick with COVID. So I was able to have some downtime and write some crazy stuff. And then now we're working on a couple other somethings right now.
Well, I've got to say, Wraith of the Lake, I just love it to bits. I think it's such a cool song. I mean, I've been playing it since I heard it. I don't know. I'd say, is there quite a bit of a Nightwish influence that you've picked up and Finnish type symphonic rock?
I think
absolutely.
I can speak for all of us. Yeah. Some of the titans of that genre always kind of draw the influence. I never grew up with Nightwish, me personally. But once I got a little bit older and got into that genre, I realized there's a lot of similarities between who I already was as a vocalist and what kind of music I liked. So to be able to marry the two together was awesome.
Great. Kory, your musical influences, what's your musical journey?
I grew up on classic rock. You know, my biggest influence, the reason I picked up guitar was Edward Van Halen, pretty classic. In high school, I discovered bands like Nightwish, Cradle of Filth, and, Epica. And that really, I immediately fell in love with that specific genre and just became totally obsessed. And it wasn't until 2019 that I actually got to realize that the genre isn't as popular around this area, and finding people who are interested in playing that kind of music at the level of musicianship that you need is difficult. And it took me a while to network to find the people that we have now.
Yeah, because I mean, symphonic rock, it's typically always been European, German, Finland. That's where the big ones come out of.
Oh yeah,
but there's a lot now coming out of the US, but I think you're the only ones in Canada.
There are actually a few other ones that are of note. There's Solaris. If you haven't checked them out, they're great. And there's another one, Age of Athena. They're both out of Ontario. Really great bands.
I'm really impressed by the amount of I've forgotten the track now. I was listening to it the other night. I think it's Necromancer. You've got a lot of choral stuff, which is also, do you get a choir, or is that all double track stuff?
That's all tracked with Naomi and Shane. It's just them. Several layers. I think there's got to be 23 layers or something like that.
That's quite something. Cool. The album. Tell us about the album. How did that come about? How did you create it? What was the concept behind it?
I kind of wanted to, do the classic symphonic sound mixed in with more power metal elements. That's why you've got a song like Break Your Patterns has that kind of upbeat kind of sound, that classic power metal sound with the guitars and just very simple strings. And I don't know, I kind of just ended up forming kind of just naturally. I didn't have any specific direction to start with. That's just where we ended up.
Okay.
Just a collection of the material we wrote over the period of about a year and a half.
McKenna, you said you wrote Wraith of the Lake.
Yeah, instrumentally,
what are your
it actually
in music? I mean, are you sort of drawn towards the Hobbit and fantasy stuff and all that sort of thing?
Well, instrumentally, Daniel, our drummer, had written that song, and he had some lyrics of his own in there and a melody in place, and really wanted to use it for a project. So he said, let's take this song and turn it into a fully realized band song. And he left it with me to come up with all the concepts. So I am a big self-proclaimed nerd. I love things like folklore and fantasy. So this song was intended to be almost like a fake or a folklore song that would exist somewhere in the world about a haunted river or a haunted lake where it's people have gone missing in the lake and nobody knows their fate. Are they dead? Are they alive? But they can hear the voices coming from the lake. I love a lot of horror, but I didn't want it to be too spooky, just a little bit mysterious. And I can say, without revealing too much, that I am working on a song right now that is entirely based on the video game Skyrim, because that is a big influence for me.
Cool. What futures? What are your future plans, Kory?
Like McKenna mentioned, we're working on our next release. We're not sure if we're going to be doing an EP or what yet, but there is material in the works. We've got other show plans that haven't yet to be announced coming in the pipeline. And we've got lots of content planned. It'll be fun. We've got I've got some changes in the sound coming. I think it'll be interesting. I really hope our audience likes what we're doing.
How do you work playing live? I mean, your music must have a lot of backing stuff. It must be quite hard to replicate that live.
Go ahead, McKenna.
No, all of the stuff you hear on the album and on the singles would have the backing tracks kind of plugged into a system that Daniel uses, and he is the mastermind behind all of that. And he's in control of everything that you'd hear coming from the backing of the songs and going into the front of house. So when we play live, it actually sounds just like it would on the album, where all of the choirs and all the strings are right there with us.
That's it's not an easy job, that. I mean, to get that right and then play to it as well. I mean, it's quite a challenge.
Fun every time. There's always something, right? Because you can never trust technology and equipment.
Yeah.
So it's always a lot of like, let's just go roll with the punches. If there's technical difficulties or any hiccups, that's just what makes us professionals, right? We had moments where our equipment wasn't working the way it intended to, and it really, if anything, solidified us as musicians, because we were able to work together to get through it and still sound like you would never know anything was wrong.
Cool. One thing I like to do, which is a bit of fun, is this. It's 10 easy questions, and it's designed for listeners to quickly understand who you are.
Love it.
It's not a psychoanalysis test with fancy pictures. It's 10. So you don't have to say what you're seeing. Just say the first thing that comes into your mind. And there are no right or wrong answers. There's no justification or anything. Are you both ready? Can you see this all right?
Yep.
Yes. Yes to both. Pizza. He has to think about it.
Yeah. Pizza.
St. Albert, Alberta.
Vancouver, BC.
System of a Down.
Nightwish.
Purple.
Blue. Oh. Lord of the Rings.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, it changes every day.
I was gonna say that's a moment by moment.
Let's go, Deutschland, Rammstein.
Over the hills and far away, Nightwish.
Cat.
Cat.
No. I'm sweating. I've suddenly forgotten what all movies are. I mean, I guess Jack Black.
Christopher Lee.
Coffee.
Definitely coffee.
There's one in St. Albert or Edmonton, and it can't remember what it's called, but it plays only 90s.
I guess mine would be Z98.9 in Red Deer.
That is a big fail.
I seen you look on. That was a test. Yeah,
That was a trap.
I was gonna say it. I didn't. Yeah, from the ice.
Yeah, catches everyone every time, so don't feel bad.
It's like, that's a trick.
Yeah.